I wanna da-da-da. Oh, cause he's so thick.
Who sings that?
D4L. Right?
Never heard of him.
Bro. You never heard that song?
I've heard the song. I don't know the artist. Does that mean Down for Life?
Yeah.
Is that the full name or is it D4L?
Dick for life.
Is our podcast Murders Per Gallon of Popcorn or MPGP?
It's MPGP sometimes.
And what does that mean?
Murders per gallon of popcorn, not bag.
So what's the official title?
Murders per gallon of popcorn.
Okay.
I was like saying it in my head while I was walking from the subway station home, and I was like, I'm not gonna fuck it up. I'm not gonna fuck it up.
Great practice.
I know, it's like an affirmation.
Well.
So, we're back. Oh, I'm Haley, by the way.
And I'm Craig.
And you are listening to the Murders Per Gallon of Popcorn podcast. Before we get into our Valentine's Day plans, I want to formally apologize to Craig and say, and he's not making me do this, I swear. I'm sorry for pushing the narrative that the setting for My Bloody Valentine was Valentine's Bluff.
Oh. So, I'm still confused over which one it is, but I'm pretty positive that when I looked up the, like, town sign that flashes in the movie, that it's Valentine, singular, Bluffs, plural.
Yeah, it is.
Is that right?
Okay. Yeah, it's correct. I don't know why, for some reason, I thought we looked it up during the podcast. I didn't. I thought you looked it up.
I don't know.
Anyways, it doesn't
I think we
matter.
got multiple things wrong.
Definitely.
So, you don't need to apologize. I know I said some dumb shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just very important for our listeners to know that while we are very smart and cultured people, we are not experts by any means. So, just say. Okay, so Valentine's Day. Our Valentine's Day was really nice. We drove to...
We went upstate.
Yeah, we went upstate. To...
And that means New York.
We live in New York.
New York State.
We went to Newburgh, which is a lovely town up the Hudson. And we stayed in like a cute little Airbnb. And we got there. I made a delicious vegan cheese board. Quick plug. Follow at Plant-Based Boards. And you will see my cheese board creations.
It was so good.
Yeah, it was really good. Craig picked up a bunch of fucking cheese from Riverdale. Sponsor us. We went to Dia Beacon, which is this amazing, huge, like, sculpture museum.
Yeah,
there's other art there too.
It's an art museum, but it, like, all of the different spaces are huge, and they, like, it'll be like a room of sculptures with huge ceilings and like no walls, and you can just walk around in it, or there will be like a giant Richard Serra sculpture and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's unlike any other art museum that I've ever been to.
Yeah, we love that place. That's like a kind of special place in our hearts, because that's like when we were first starting to date, we went up on the train. This was before Craig had the truck up here. The truck. So we took like a little train up there, and it was really nice. So yeah, it was nice to revisit there. And then we watched Hell Night.
It was a college frat Halloween slasher.
Yeah.
It was like all these frat boys and like pledges dressed up in different Halloween costumes being scared in this haunted house. That's a good one.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll talk about it sometime.
Yeah, it was fun. And then the next day, we went to Storm King. We've been to Storm King before in like basically the fall. Highly recommend going there. It was like super, I mean, it's outside. It's like this huge outdoor sculpture park. And it, it's like a great way to see art in like an open space. Cause we live in the panini times, so
What?
I've been hearing people call it
No.
the panini. Okay, I've been hearing
I've
people
never
call
heard
it the panini times. Yeah, so Storm King was very cool. It was like covered in snow. I thought it was like a really cool way to see these sculptures. We couldn't really like go super close because we were both wearing like not appropriate snow attire.
Yeah. We have matching boots. We have matching Doc Martens and
Doc Marten Chelsea's.
Chelsea boots. Yeah. So we were both. It's our only boot. I don't have any winter clothes. Like I just have these boots that I found on the sidewalk, and then Haley bought them.
Yeah, I bought them for full price, and
I
they're
found
expensive.
them just like walking down the street. But that's if you're wondering what I'm wearing when I'm out there in the snow, it's the Doc Marten Chelsea boot.
They are not.
It was very
They're
icy.
not meant for snow.
There was snow in my boot and up my pants leg.
Guess we should segue.
We're gonna try to do this every Sunday, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That just seems like it would make sense. But if it gets overwhelming, we might just do it twice a month.
Yeah, something like that. But we're trying to give it to y'all every week because I know y'all are itching for us to give our.
I also want to do it every week just so we can get through this franchise of movies that we're embarking on starting today. Just I want to get through it not in like 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So yeah, should we go ahead and say what movie we're doing? 1, 2, 3.
Friday the 13th from 1980.
Wait.
I saw a like Valentine's card that was trying to mimic that noise.
Yeah.
And it said like key 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 ma ma ma. And I was like, is that what the sound is? I don't know.
Wait, maybe I can like YouTube the theme really quick.
Don't get us claimed.
Oh fuck.
I don't think it would.
Maybe if I say like this is a parody. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we're
wait.
good.
Pull it up and I'll say, okay, I'm going to do my best impression and then play it. Is that right?
I don't know. Maybe it's somewhat okay.
Anyways, this video was uploaded by Jason Voorhees. Go give him a follow on YouTube. At Jason Voorhees account on YouTube with 1.23k subscribers.
2 videos.
2 videos. Give him a follow. That is... Jason uploaded that. His noise.
Y'all, he is
That's
active
straight
on
from
YouTube.
the source.
The original concept for our podcast was to go through all of these film franchises, horror film franchises that we like love. And one of them is Friday the 13th, which I never really like. I didn't like grow up and watch those movies. I knew about Jason, like, just through talking with my friends and stuff. But I never actually watched a Friday the 13th movie until we lived together. Like, literally, we moved in together in June, and like I think Halloween time we started watching them.
Yeah, so this is a good opportunity for us to talk about the origin of our podcast, maybe.
Yeah.
So we had been where should we start this story? So we've just like casually mentioned in the past that we should start a podcast where we talk about movies because we watch so many movies, especially because we're living during COVID-19 and like we're inside a lot. We watch a lot of movies, and I mean, we both love movies. Haley has a film degree. We love movies, and we usually watch a bunch of them, and we just like banter sometimes during the movie,
Yeah.
but definitely after we like discuss what we think of movies. So we thought we were genius. We thought that our banter after movies was so good that we felt like we should share it with other people.
Yeah. So you are welcome.
So we had this idea to start a podcast, or we'd like toss the idea around. It would be a fun project. It would like be a good way to communicate with like our friends and hang out with our friends, kind of. So also at this, like around the same time that, I mean, I guess we've always said we should start a podcast, but recently we started watching Friday the 13th, like in order. I don't know what it was. I think we just watched like one of them, and then anytime we saw another one was available to stream, or we would sometimes pay for it or rent it or whatever. We would just like watch them, but out of order. So I think we watched 3, and then I think we watched 6. And after we watched 3 and 6, I was like, I fucking love these movies.
Yeah.
I had never seen either of them. If I had, I hadn't paid attention, which happens a lot. So we watched 3, 6, and then I think we watched 4. So random.
Yeah.
But those are like the best ones, kind of.
Yeah.
And then Haley got me this box set for my birthday, which was recently, and it's the Scream Factory like collector's edition box set of every Friday the 13th movie Blu-ray, and it's so cool. Like, you guys should look it up if like maybe you know about it or whatever, but look it up. It's cool. And I was stoked, so we were like, okay, we're gonna fucking review franchise movies. Like, this is our podcast. We're gonna watch them in order and talk about them one after another. And that's gonna be the way the podcast is. So you can, like, watch us review an entire series. And I think that's a good idea, and we're still kind of gonna do that. But Valentine's Day quickly came up, and we watched My Bloody Valentine, and then we were like, we need to release the podcast episode of us as a couple talking about My Bloody Valentine and release it on Valentine's Day, and that our podcast could just be like slasher movies we like, or like horror movies we want to talk about. I mean, it's still going to be horror themed.
Yeah.
But we could do it all. We could like talk about random movies here and there while also doing a franchise.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, as we mentioned last time, we did watch Friday the 13th Part 1, and we did record a full podcast, but this was sort of before we came up with the structure, we came up with the name of our podcast and all this stuff. So I think, like, this time around, well, it's just a disclaimer, it's been like a little over a month since we've seen this movie, but so
I'm struggling to remember a lot of it, honestly. I've seen it before even we watched it the last time, but I was probably in high school. It was a while ago, so I think it was my second time watching it when we watched it together and recorded that first podcast. And it's been like a month since then. So I've forgotten a lot of the movie, but I know it.
Yeah.
Sean Cunningham is the director. And like, there's a lot of interesting like backstory to this movie that you can kind of just, if you just like go on the Wikipedia page, it'll just throw these out at you. But one of them said like it was one of the first independent films to be picked up by like a major Hollywood studio, and like given a wide release. So I think that's really interesting. Like, this is, for all intents and purposes, like a first film for this director, and he was like known more for producing, but it's like an indie film, but it features Kevin Bacon, and it's like got a wide release. So I guess this movie kind of helped Kevin Bacon like get more popularity, right? If this, I mean, it was apparently a success, this movie. So
a smash hit.
At least enough to make for all the sequels that come later, you know. It's definitely influenced by Halloween, which is talked about a lot. Like the fact that Halloween came out in 1978, directed by John Carpenter. It's like kind of presented a slasher killer trope that would go on and be mimicked by, you know, other franchises, and like the one that always comes to mind is Friday the 13th. It's like a parallel. So, you know, it's definitely somewhat derivative of like movies like Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it has its own setting. I know we talked about the setting a lot with My Bloody Valentine.
Yeah.
So the fact that a movie can have like a distinct setting can give it an atmosphere and like a vibe that I appreciate. So I think the camp slasher genre that even came after this movie, or like around the same time, camp slashers were a thing. So
it's set at Camp Crystal Lake, which is in New Jersey, right? It's like, I don't know, upstate New Jersey.
It's definitely in New Jersey.
And yeah, it's just like this, it's gorgeous, like beautiful, huge lake. I feel like it's like, so I like, to give you background for me, as probably many of our listeners of our family and friends know, like I went to camp. I went to Camp Barney, CBM baby, in North Georgia. And like we had like 2 lakes, but they were like small man-made lakes, and they were private, like on the property. But Camp Crystal Lake is one of those, like, it's like the camp's on a giant lake that's like shared with other things.
There's like one central body of water that's like, it's not like a pond.
Yeah.
It's a big lake.
The lake is like almost like another character. The lake in the camp. It's like the spirit of this camp is like.
Definitely. Especially in like later movies, I think they start to. I think certain directors kind of are more interested in that idea, so think about like the setting and it being a camp and how, like, you know, not to get too much into the plot, but like, you know, Friday the 13th, Jason, how Jason is connected to the camp, and it's like his iconic location. The camp is definitely like a character. It's central to the plot.
Okay. I want to talk about our cast of teens and townspeople. I'm starting in order of appearance. So, in the cold open, we have 2 camp counselors named Barry and Claudette. Then, in quote-unquote present day, we have our first character we meet is Annie, who is kind of like a happy-go-lucky, sort of like ditzy.
Oh yeah, she's a hitchhiker.
Yeah, she loves to hitchhike, which is, you know.
Well, she does it once, but
she does it twice.
That's enough to be a hitchhiker. Oh, she does do it twice,
yeah.
right?
I'm like, girl, you're really fucking taking a gamble. But
so she gets to the gas station and then hitchhikes again, right?
Yeah, honestly, she probably hitchhiked to the gas station too. Who knows?
She is going all over the fucking place. Thumbs out. She has a wanderlust soul.
Yeah,
we'll say.
She's a free spirit. Then we have Enos. That's a weird name. Enos.
Anus.
He's a truck driver. He's like a
Another
town
character that like you don't need to know his
Yeah.
name, but
Well,
he dies. Right?
No, he doesn't die.
Oh, we know.
He's our like backstory vessel basically, because he gives Annie a ride. Then we have another town local. This character is called Crazy Ralph.
Official title.
Official title is Crazy Ralph. We are not titling him that.
Or name. What is that? It's Crazy a title and Ralph is the name.
He is sort of.
He's a warning.
He's a warning man. He is on the like. That place has a death curse. He makes like really wild
low-key
choices.
Ralph is kind of an interesting character because he like you don't really get to as far as I've seen, you don't really get to know why he's crazy. Or
Yeah.
like if there's because he seems obsessed with the Crystal Lake murders.
Yeah.
Which happened in the cold open. He seems like he knows, like he's clairvoyant or something. He's like warning them like there's something he knows that everyone else doesn't. Like he knows the killer is still there, and if you open it, like
if you open the camp there, then you're gonna
get killed.
die.
Like he warns everyone that it's like a bad place,
and everyone's just like
he's crazy.
Crazy.
But I'm like, what happened to you, Ralph?
Then we meet our teens, the rest of the teens. We have Ned Rubenstein, Jack Burrell, who is
Burl,
who is Kevin, not Kevin. I was about
Kevin
to say
Bacon.
Kevin Spacey. Yeah, Kevin
the
Bacon.
Baconator. What is that 7 degrees of Kevin
Bacon? Oh yeah, that is a thing.
That everyone in the fucking like movie industry is like somehow related to Kevin Bacon by 7 degrees or of separation or some shit. So, yeah.
Then we got Bill Brown, Marcy Cunningham, Brenda Jones, and Alice Hardy, along with the camp owner Steve Christie. Oh, and then there's also like a policeman. There's Sergeant Tierney. And then I'm not going to tell you the final 2 characters. I will not tell you. So, now that we know our cast of teens, I'm going to go into a short synopsis, which will be kind of paraphrasing. So, the movie starts in 1958 at Camp Crystal Lake. It starts with like kind of like a fire circle in a cabin, like living room situation.
It totally looks like some fucking like Christian white people shit. It's like
it's very kumbaya.
They're singing kumbaya in a fucking circle in a cabin. Bowl cuts look like the Brady Bunch.
So obviously this makes our first 2 characters, Barry Jackson and Claudette Hayes, very horny because they go upstairs.
They exchange a like knowing glance that I liked.
they were like, we're doing this shit. It's the last night of camp. Let's fuck. So they go upstairs and they're kind of like rolling around on the floor, and then we kind of go into a point of view shot of the killer, and Barry kind of like gets up and is like, oh, sorry, like we weren't really doing anything, like we're just playing around, and then he gets stabbed in the stomach, and then Claudette
off screen
it's like a like a gut
stabs in the gut. Yeah.
And then Claudette gets killed, but like we don't really see that. It's kind of like one of those like it gets like
she
really
screams.
Yeah, she screams.
Slow
it's
motion,
like slow
and
motion.
she screams,
Mm-hmm.
and then it fades to white, and then the whole screen's white, and then in 3D letters comes in Friday the 13th.
22 years later, our girl Annie she appears at the bus stop in this like small town, and she goes to like a little diner, and she's like, I need to go to Camp Crystal Lake. Who can drive me?" Basically, and everyone's like, "What the fuck? Like, you do not want to go there." And basically, this one dude, Anus,
Enos.
is like, "Yo, you probably don't want to go there because, like, it's kind of fucked up there." And she's like, "No, I do." And then Crazy Ralph comes up to them and is like, "That camp is cursed. Like, don't go there." And they kind of like, he's like, "Fuck off, Ralph," basically. And then they start driving, and Enos like does a whole backstory about how a young boy drowned in at Camp Crystal Lake in 1957, and then a year later, 2 counselors were killed. So after she gets dropped off, she hitches a ride from another person. We do not see this person, and she's just like talking their ear off. Like, she's like, "I love camp. Like, I'm so excited. Like, I'm chasing my dreams by working at this summer camp." And basically, the driver's like speeding up. Like, she can tell that shit is kind of like getting sketchy. So she like is like, "Stop. Can you stop driving super fast? Blah, blah, blah." And she barrel rolls out of the car, and there's a chase scene in the woods, and we get our first, well, I guess third death, but the first really gnarly one.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
She gets her throat slashed, and you see it, y'all.
Yeah,
it is.
Apparently, in the uncut version that we watched, it's like longer, but they like stayed on that shot of her with her throat slit for a long time, and it was like, it made it pretty scary.
Yeah, it was really, it was
fucked up.
Not for the faint of heart. So, at the camp, all of our teens are chilling, getting ready to, like, have camp. They're refurbishing cabins, etc. It's like, when I went to camp, it's like, when I was working at the camp, we had this thing called pre-camp. Where,
That's like the little bit that comes out first.
But yeah, basically.
Welcome to pre-camp.
They're just getting ready to have fucking kids there. It's like the first time in 20-something years that they're having camp. So they're clearing lots of wasp nests and all that fucking shit.
So, like, did you can really relate to this movie then?
Yeah.
So you like fully went to pre-camp like these aren't kids. I want to
teens.
reiterate, these are not these
They're
are
teens.
not the kids at camp. These are the guardian kids or
They're the
older kids
counselors.
or counselors, if you will. In
They're
this
young adults.
hierarchy, they are the rulers
Mm-hmm.
of this camp. So
Yeah. They're getting ready for camp. There is a scene where they're like clearing out a cabin, and a fucking snake
that's what
comes
I
out.
mean.
Yeah. A snake comes out, and like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with snakes, but like, I don't know.
They are real. They exist.
I don't know if you know this, but snakes are real things, and I know that some of y'all may not have seen them, but they're real. They slither around.
Slither.
So, but okay, this specific type of snake, like, and I like am just gonna flex on some weird snake knowledge that I picked up at camp. Which is, it's like, okay, so the snake was like a long black snake, and I think those are called, it's a rat snake. Rat snakes are not, like, they're not gonna kill you if they bite you. They're, like, pretty much harmless. They're just big. So this long rat snake is in the cabin, and the teens like freak the fuck out and they annihilate this real snake. Like, they literally kill a snake in this movie. So
Yeah, it's not, for us being vegan, we end up watching a lot of movies with animal death. But I guess that's just like what low budget movies were like in the 80s. I don't know.
Basically, I know they go to the lake at one point. They're just kind of swimming around, they're fucking around, and then there is a storm a brewing. And our character, okay, so Steve, the like kind of camp owner, camp director, leaves the camp to get supplies. Ned, who I would say is like the goofball, because I think he has like, I think he's the one that like fucks around in the lake and is like pretending to be dead.
Oh yeah.
So
he's the douchebag.
Yeah, he's a douche. But
this installment.
so Ned like sees someone walk into a cabin and he follows them. Then Jack and Marcy, Jack is Kevin Bacon, go to have sex in one of the cabin's bunk beds, and I just want to sidebar that the bunk beds are very like low. Like, if you were walking, you could see the top bunk, okay? So like, I just want to point this out because it's like, I
You're
don't
so
understand. It bothers me so much. I mentioned this in the other podcast. As Marcy and Jack are having sex, it's revealed that Ned's body is right above them. And this is why I'm like, okay, yeah, it's really fucked up and it's a great body reveal. Ned's body is above them. His throat has been slit. They're fully fucking and their friend is dead above them. Which is honestly super disturbing, but I still stand by the fact that they would, if they fucking walked in to the room, y'all will see for yourself if you watch this movie, those bunks are definitely like lower than your eye line, so you would be able to see that. But whatever, I understand, it's just a movie. I don't know why I'm so fucking annoyed by it. But Marcy goes to the bathroom, and while she's there, Jack's throat is pierced with an arrow from beneath the bed. Then Marcy is the killer follows Marcy into the bathroom and axes her face.
Then, I love that kill.
Yeah, we'll deep dive into the kills a little bit later, but for now I'm just blazing.
You're blazing.
I'm blazing through now. I'm not glazing through. I'm blazing through. A handful of our teens are playing Monopoly. This isn't in the Wikipedia synopsis, but I remember they're all playing Monopoly, and then they're kind of like, okay, I'm tired and bored. Oh, they're playing Strip Monopoly. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. I fucking hate Monopoly.
I haven't played it in such a long time.
I hate that game. Anytime I've ever tried to play that board game, nightmare. It's also a fucked up game. It's a capitalist game.
My favorite thing about Monopoly are the
but
little...
fuck Monopoly.
Okay, but listen.
But...
the little pieces that you get to play with.
Yeah,
those are
cool.
Fucking cool.
But the Settlers of Catan ones are cooler, let's be real.
I've never played that.
Settlers of Catan is like the communist Monopoly. I would honestly, that's genius. It's the communist Monopoly.
Chef's kiss. I've never played that. I'm open to it, though. I have a lot of friends that like it.
Shouts out to Nathan.
You know, they all are like, okay, it's time for bed because we're playing this boring-ass game, and even getting fucking naked doesn't make it better.
Strip Monopoly.
Strip Monopoly.
So dumb.
Sounds horrible. So, Brenda, who, okay, I want to note this, like, when the teens first get to the camp, there's like a scene where Ned, the goofball, like fucks with Brenda in the archery range, and he like basically, I don't remember if he like I think he shoots around her. He like shoots like right next to her, and she like kind of to scare her. So that's like it's a little bit of a jump scare. So I just want to note this because Brenda, she's getting ready for bed and she hears like a voice calling for help. So she like goes out. By the way, it's like I mentioned that a storm was coming. It's like fully storming. So she's like out in the rain. She's like trying to find the source of this voice, and she ends up back at the archery range, and all the lights in the archery range come on, and then it cuts out. So we don't see what happens to Brenda. Oh, I think Steve's car runs down, and he gets a ride from the cop, and they have a conversation about Friday the 13th and sort of like luck and stuff. So they're like nodding to it.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's with a cop. And, like, of course, the movie's called Friday the 13th. I feel like it's not explored enough that, you know, Friday the 13th is the date that's pretty significant, and the date deals with bad luck. And, you know, it's like a negative thing. It's like bad shit is going to happen on Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
And it's your unlucky day. 13 is an unlucky number. So I'm glad that there is a scene where someone talks about that concept. Like, wow, there's fucking murders going on today. Or like...
Yeah. And what makes that scene really cool is that the police, like, they have this full conversation about luck and shit. And, like, the policeman is, like, driving him to camp. Like, he could have driven with Steve, and that would be help, you know? Like, he could have driven up and would be able to help all of these teens. But what happens is the policeman gets called in
over the radio,
and there's a car accident, so he has to drop off Steve. Like, and he's like, sorry, can you walk the rest of the way? And Steve's like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. So we're like, as the viewer, we're like, holy fuck, that's really shitty luck. Right after this conversation about luck. So it's just like kind of interesting. And you know that Steve is absolutely fucked as soon as he steps out of the cop car.
I love that scene. That's funny.
So he approaches the camp, and he sees the killer, and he recognizes the killer. He's like, hey, what are you doing out here? Like, friendly, like, not surprised or scared or anything.
Yeah.
And he gets stabbed. So, in response. So, Alice and Bill are the two teens left at the camp. They are starting to, like, kind of worry about their friends, and when they go to investigate, they find an axe in Brenda's bed, and the phone is disconnected, and Ned's truck is inoperable. So the killer definitely fucks some shit up. Then the power goes out, so Bill, makes the fatal error to go check the generator. So then we have, like, the really cool scene where Alice is making coffee, and it's a really long and quiet...
It's raining outside.
And it's a really long and quiet scene, and, like, I absolutely love this scene because, like, you can really see... You can feel the anxiety build. Like, it's very subtle, and just, like...
She looks anxious. Mm-hmm. This is the scene that's, like... This is totally an independent film, because that... scene, it just seems like such a filmmaker's scene or something. Like, let's show something where nothing's happening.
Mm-hmm. But so much is happening in the fucking character's mind. It's sick. She's like, just fucking stressed, so she's like, I'm gonna just go out and look for Bill. And she
goes out in the rain in like a poncho, right?
Oh,
she
yeah,
puts
and her
on
iconic look.
Poncho.
Yellow poncho?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Mm-hmm. So she goes out, and she finds Bill's body pinned with arrows to the I didn't realize how big, just a sidebar, I didn't realize how big of a role arrows played in the first movie, because I feel like most of the kills happen with arrows, so that's something interesting to note, because I feel like when you think of Friday the 13th, you think of machetes, basically.
Yeah.
So, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so she's, like, stressed as fuck. Obviously, she sees her friend's dead body. She runs back in, goes into full-on survival mode. She, like...
This is when she proves herself as, like, the final girl, because she totally, like, jumps into action. She goes in immediately with a plan. You know, like, I don't really like Alice as a final girl necessarily. She's not my favorite. She's kind of boring. But she does, like, do what you want her to do to survive.
Yeah, she, like, barricades the door with this, like, weird, like, rope thing.
She, like, ties an elaborate series of ropes. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that, honestly.
Yeah, no, I don't think, honestly, like... I'd like to think I was the final girl, but I don't think I would be the final girl.
I'd be, like, cracking a joke and get killed.
Yeah, Craig would be the goofball and get the first kill. Sorry.
But you're right. It's the sad thing.
So, you know, she is so stressed and traumatized. And then all of a sudden, Brenda's body is thrown through the fucking kitchen window, and she's like, what the fuck?
So dramatic.
So then she undoes all of the fucking rope shit, and she, like, I think she hears a car, so that's why she's, like, undoing all this stuff, because she thinks that Steve is back. So the vehicle pulls up, and Alice, like, rushes outside, and she is greeted by Mrs. Voorhees, who is a middle-aged woman who claims to be an old friend of Steve and his family. Alice is, like, freaking the fuck out because she's witnessed, like, all of her friends dying. And Pamela's like, oh, no, calm down. Like, it's okay. Like, let's just, like, go look. Whatever. And they go inside, and, you know, Pamela sees the body of Brenda. And she's like, oh, man, like, she's so young, like, so much potential, so sad. And then she starts kind of going in this sort of, like, monologue where she reveals that she had a son that attended camp, and he drowned because the counselors were not paying attention to him and he couldn't swim. And I think she reveals that she, like, worked at the camp, and that Jason, like... Oh, her son's name is Jason. So she's talking about this, and we kind of, like, start to see that she is not necessarily here to help Alice. It's sort of revealed, not sort of, it is revealed that she is a killer. She just...
I mean, I honestly think it would have been, if this happened to me, and I was, like, Alice, I would think that she was the killer. I would be immediately not very trusting of someone who's appearing that I don't know after all my friends were murdered.
This is true,
Especially, like... Did they know at all of the murders that took place? Or the only person who knew of the murder
Annie
was Annie that got killed after...
Yeah, I don't know why Steve doesn't say anything. But, no, this is the thing. This is, like, the thing that, I guess, like, as a woman, like, I'm, like, if I was going through this shit and I see, like...
You're right.
It's like this is why Pamela Voorhees is such an interesting villain and such an interesting killer, because she literally she's in a fucking cute ass sweater.
Baby blue sweater.
She is like the epitome of non-threatening. If you saw this person, you'd be like, I need to help you. Like, get the fuck out of here, lady. Like, what the fuck are you doing? turns out she's capable of murdering many, many people with ease.
And throwing Brenda through the fucking window.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck? So, basically,
But the second she's on screen, the way it's shot is just like her face is like just being hit with light, and it's just like a close-up shot of her face, and her eyes are like so bright and big, and she's talking in this like creepy nice voice, and it's just like, this is some
Sus.
wild acting is
Yeah.
what I just think about that. That's like an iconic performance, you know.
what ensues after it is revealed that Mrs. Voorhees was the killer all along is a fight. Like, she obviously attempts to kill Alice, but Alice, like, knocks her out. And then they just, like, there's, like, a bunch of, I feel like this happens, like, 2 to 3 times throughout the game.
Yeah,
They're
she
just,
gets
like,
knocked down, runs away, comes back,
like,
knocked down,
yeah.
runs away.
Until they go to the shore of Crystal Lake. And Alice finds an axe. Was it an axe or was it a machete?
I think it was a machete.
Ooh. That's actually good to know, because maybe that's
I think she
why...
like picks it up like it's really heavy and lobs it at Pamela.
And we see this, like, very slow motion shot of Alice approaching Pamela with this machete. And we see Pamela, like, scream. And then Alice chops off her head. And it's fucking epic.
Yeah, the head getting chopped off is so gnarly. Like,
Yeah.
you can see the bone and shit. It, like, gets lobbed off, and it shows, like, the, like, gore of the inside of a head or neck or whatever.
Yeah. And then...
Great
Yeah.
special effects makeup by Tom Savini, by the way. Pretty notable for the series, I think, because he's done other... Well, he did 4 as well. And 4 is, like, classic, too.
Yeah.
Great gore when it's there in this movie.
But after Alice kills Pamela, she goes in a canoe. This is an interesting choice that I probably would not do. But Alice goes in a canoe without a paddle and takes a little nap. And then...
She's just so exhausted. She just needs to sleep in the middle of the lake on a boat.
Yeah, it's a choice. So the next morning, she wakes up. There's a gorgeous shot of her in the canoe. It's very peaceful. We see 2 policemen approaching the beach. There's serene music playing. And Alice looks up, smiling, and then we get one last jump scare. It is Jason jumping out from the fucking lake.
Jason, Pamela's son, who was drowned while being neglected at camp that started this whole thing, and the revenge cycle, comes back and pulls her under from the canoe. But then she wakes up and that was all a dream.
Or was it?
But then she says, "What about the boy? Where's the boy?" And the cop's like, "Ma'am, we didn't see any boy." and then that's the end, right?
And then she goes,
"He's still out there." Yeah.
The line literally is, "Then he's still there." And then it freezes on her face and then the credits roll. Whee.
And as we all know, Jason would go on to be the star of the franchise of Friday the 13th. He would have a few iconic looks. You know, potentially be a zombie. He might go to space. He might go to hell. He might go to Manhattan. Who the fuck knows? I think Jason in this movie, it was like a dream. I think, honestly, I thought about this, and I think that that, like, if you just take this movie as a singular thing, that was a dream.
Yeah.
She woke up and that was a dream.
Yeah.
I
Because
don't think that really happened.
Yeah.
Because there's no... Well, first off, it's been 22 years since he was a child. But he was a child when he came up out of the water, or seemingly.
Mm-hmm.
So I take that as a dream. So they kind of retcon that. Like, they go back on the continuity with the sequel. They've, like, filled in the blanks and stuff, but I think originally, like, that's a dream.
Tom Savini was the one that... So, the original ending was just supposed to be Alice on the Lake, and that was it. That was what was written in the script, and Tom Savini was like, nah, we gotta have one more jump scare, so let's, like, include Jason, which has, like, great... I think it's, like, very fitting that this, like, iconic makeup special effects artist was like, yeah, like, let's fucking throw Jason in there, because, like, he looks fucking great. It's great fucking special effects. I think he looks really good.
Love Tom Savini to death. I love his work and stuff, and it's a good character design, but I wish the body...
I wish he was a man.
I feel
like
the body should
sense.
match the color of the head, the prosthetics on the head.
Yeah.
He's kind of pink. He's like, the actor playing Jason in this scene is pretty pink. And the head is like beige. I swear to God, it's like beige
he's like
and like
he's a fleshy monster, I guess. And I don't think there wasn't really supposed to be, like, this is the thing, like, with the ending of Friday the 13th Part 1, like, I don't think they were thinking of this becoming this smash hit and having all these sequels. And I think as we watch more movies, like, I hear that, like, they try to go back and explain the continuity and stuff. Like,
Yeah, they do.
I think, like,
if you watch the second movie, which you guys all should watch the second movie, because we're going to be doing it next.
Yeah.
But if you watch the second movie, there is a campfire scene where they tell the tale of Jason and, like, Pamela Voorhees and the lake's history. And that basically has been taken to be Jason's official origin story on, like, most sites that I've read about, like, so what is the word on what the canon is? It's like that myth, campfire myth, is, like, taken to be the reality, because what they say in the campfire myth is that he didn't actually drown. He survived in the woods on his own, killing animals and, like, gathering supplies, living in a shack, and that he would kill again.
See, that's what I think, but okay.
That's how they, like, retconned it.
That's how they did it. I think, like, that's kind of what I want to go with, but the only, like, hole in that is just that I just wish they made him, like, a man-sized monster.
Yeah, he would have at least been, like, 36 or something, right?
Yeah,
mid-30s.
Like, yeah. So
it was 22 years later, and he was probably, like, 14.
Yeah, but you know what? This movie, I feel like I'm more bothered by the bunk beds than I am by how tiny Jason is in the last scene. So, let's go through. So, you know, the podcast is called Murders Per Gallon of Popcorn, so we would be remiss to not discuss the murders and which one...
Is this going to be the thing we say every time?
It's going to be the thing. I thought there was 11 total kills, but maybe I miscounted.
I think the 11th kill is the snake.
Okay.
And there's 10. Other than that, if you count Pamela Voorhees killing.
Killed. Yeah. All right. So let's just go through them. In the cold open, Barry gets stabbed in the stomach. Claudette gets killed, but we don't really see her death. Annie, gets the gnarliest throat slit. I feel like I've maybe.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good because it's not like they don't overdo it with the spewing blood.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of seems to like
It looks so
slice
real.
open and then just like pour down.
It's
so disgusting.
nasty. It's so nasty. Ned dies off screen, but I like the way that they revealed that he was dead, where it's literally like his fucking friends are having sex and his body's right above
Oh well,
them.
yeah. So after right before Kevin Bacon's death, he notices the blood of Ned's body dripping on his forehead, which I don't even know if we mentioned that, but
Yeah, I don't think we
he
did.
gets blood dripped on him and he like touches it and looks at it, and then that's when he realizes, and that's when the arrow goes through the bed and through his neck.
Marcy is hacked in the head by an axe in the bathroom.
She's like taking a shower.
Yeah, she's like kind of, it's sad because I kind of liked Marcy. Like, she's kind of like feeling herself. She's like, yeah, just like fucked Kevin Bacon. Like, I'm hot, shit, whatever. And then,
And
like,
then lobbed into the head with an axe.
yeah,
That's
tough
God.
stuff for Marcy.
I would say the like biggest showcase of Tom Savini's special effects in this movie, if you're looking for good special effects, are Pamela Voorhees getting her head chopped off and this scene. This scene has a lot of gore and it's like pretty graphic.
Yeah. Then we get Brenda, who is tricked going into the archery range, but she's killed off screen. But she has a pretty, I mean, her body flying through the window is like a pretty big jump scare that I didn't expect.
Her body's like tied up
Yeah.
too in
Yeah.
rope and thrown. So I'm like, how did the rope come into play?
Yeah, I don't, and maybe that's the only way that Pamela could really get home. She is a very small one. How does Pamela do all this shit?
She's
Whatever.
possessed with
She
like the
is-
strength of revenge
Yeah,
and bloodthirst.
Yeah. So then we have Steve, the camp owner, who gets stabbed in the stomach. Kind of boring. Bill is also killed off screen, and his body is pinned to the door by arrows. And then our final kill, Mrs. Voorhees is decapitated by our final girl, Alice. And those are the kills.
Well, there's also the snake.
Oh,
death.
yes. Oh,
Don't forget
gosh.
about the
I
snake.
forgot about our king.
Honestly, like you're on vegan edge watch if you don't make the snake kill your best kill or like most intense kill. Actually, the
It's-
snake watch isn't a good kill because it's a real snake.
Yeah, and it's
Fucked
fucked
up.
up. It's definitely the most intense kill because it's like a literal murder of a snake, of an animal that's living. So
Yeah, it's the worst kill.
that's the worst one, I guess.
We do not advocate for actual death. This is fake.
Yeah.
We like to see fake death.
Yeah.
Not real death. That's fucked up.
Yeah. Fuck real death. Fuck real murders. So, so what was your favorite kill?
Honestly, it's gotta be even though it's like kind of not that eventful, it's just so gruesome, is the axe to the face in the bathroom kill. I think that's my favorite. A close second is gonna be Kevin Bacon right before that.
Those are not what I thought you were gonna say.
Oh, I take that back maybe. I like the throat slitting one. Maybe throat slitting above Kevin Bacon, but I like the axe.
Yeah. I think my favorite is the throat slitting one, followed by, I have like such a fucking thing about my neck because I've had like surgery on my neck, and like so when I see like shit with the neck, I get really fucking grossed out and like really just like ugh. So her, like, Annie's death was like my first one because it's fucking,
Yeah, that's a really good one.
so good. And then my second is Jack, Kevin Bacon, because it's like the same thing. You literally see the arrow go through his throat.
Yeah, like the skin bulge.
Ugh. And then I'm gonna say, I mean, I did like the axe hack, but I'm gonna say my third is Mrs. Voorhees getting decapitated, just because it was.
I will say
It's iconic.
my favorite part about that kill isn't like how she was killed or like the special effects of it, because it's kind of like it looks good, the effects look amazing, but the slow motion rolling away of the head is kind of cheesy, but the slow motion, her lunging at Pamela, like growling almost and slicing her head off, that slow-mo is awesome, and that becomes like a trope of the series, like the slow motion kill or like attempt.
Yeah, and I honestly feel like that scene gets like kind of replayed in later.
Oh yeah, it does. Like movies. In the recaps, basically that are at the start of.
Yeah, they have a lot of recaps. Like I think that's like a big thing for this series is like they're like, just so you know, this happened last time. It's like kind of like watching like previously on. But it's cool. I like it. I mean, especially for us, like, because I feel like we have a hard time remembering something.
Well, we just watch so many movies, and I don't know, like, we just watch too many movies to remember all the plots, and, like, we watch them one time. Yeah. We're probably, like, chatting or...
Yeah, you know. You know how it is, guys, right? You guys know how it is. Yeah, so that's good. Shall we give, okay, what do we want our little, like, rating thing to be? I think it should be either, an adorable blue sweater or arrows, because I feel like that's the primary murder weapon of Pamela. What do you think, though?
Yeah, I guess it should be the blue sweater. That's kind of funny.
I like the blue sweater. So, yeah. So, I would give this, I think I really love this movie, so I'm going to give this, out of 5 powder blue adorable sweaters, I'm going to give this 4.5, but the top half of the sweater, so you can wear it kind of as like a crop top that like shows the bottom of your boobs, basically. What would you rate this?
I want to give it 2 different ratings. I want to give it a rating as its own movie, and then I want to give it a rating as a Friday the 13th movie.
That's
or
good,
like
good thought.
In the series, because I'm always kind of disappointed by this movie because it doesn't have Jason as like the killer, and it has a different vibe. It's kind of like a mystery, more like grounded in reality, like Giallo type mystery thriller, you know, murder movie.
Yeah.
It's definitely brutal, and it's definitely a slasher, but it's still got that element of mystery, and that you don't know who the killer is until the last scenes of the movie. So as its own movie, I would give this like 4.5 or whatever, you know, like pretty high. As a Friday the 13th movie, I think this only gets like a 3 powder blue sweaters out of 5.
That's fair though, because okay.
I would put a lot of the Friday the 13th movies above it, is what I'm saying. So maybe a combined score, 4 powder blue sweaters out of 5. How about we do that? Yeah.
I think
not
that's
to make
fair.
this too complicated,
I think
but it's a good movie, but in a different way that the other ones are good movies.
Yeah, I mean, when you, like, this is my thing, like, I'm just gonna go into final thoughts.
Yeah, let's give our in-depth final thoughts.
So this is my thing with this movie. I wish, honestly, like, if I could time travel, basically, before knowing Jason and the Friday the 13th franchise, and I could watch this movie for the first time in 1980 in the fucking theaters and be completely blindsided by the fact that the first movie, the mom is the killer. That's like such a good twist. Because, again, like I said earlier, like, you do not expect this, like, old sweet woman to be capable of fucking bodying every single teen that steps foot in Camp Crystal Lake. Like, you just don't expect it.
That's a great point. It's they kind of trick you into believing it's a man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even like we talked about this like in the first time we tried to record this podcast, where like the cover art is literally like the outline of a man. Like,
yeah, it's pretty masculine appearing.
So I don't know. I just like I really like love. I love the idea of just like looking at it on its own. Like, love the idea of this mom like powered by vengeance and just sort of like dismissing, like, I feel like it's just like dismissing like normal like maternal, like when you look at like a mother, you don't think that they could be capable of this. And so it's just like really fucking cool to like see a character that is so driven by like loss and vengeance that she's capable of killing. But in terms of like Friday the 13th, you know, it's like when you want to watch a Friday the 13th movie, usually you're in the mood to watch Jason in a hockey mask hack up teens. So, you know, I guess like if you're in the mood to see Jason, you know, that's totally fair. This is not the movie to see Jason killing teens, but it is a great movie, and I honestly highly suggest, if you've never watched any Friday the 13th movies, to just fucking watch them in order. Just do it.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
That's good advice. I think watch them in order, and I would say, yeah, you're in for like 6 good movies. Mm-hmm. Well, 5 great movies, and 5 you might hate, or you might love it.
Yeah.
I obviously like this movie a lot, but it's not my favorite Friday the 13th movie. It's not my favorite horror movie, but it's still like a classic. It's great. It's cool. It's a little tame by today's standards and like what I think of in terms of Friday the 13th movies. There's like less nudity. It's less dramatic with the performances and the kills and like what you see on screen. So those are kind of cons for me. But if I was just in the mood for watching, like, you know, sometimes you're just in the mood to watch the classic movie, like, or the original, like, let me just watch like the original Friday the 13th, it's been a while, or something. Like but usually I'm more like, let's see Jason, nudity, camp atmosphere, and lots of killing. Yeah. So that, by that scale,
because they're fun. The Friday the 13th movies are fun as fuck.
Yeah, like, they're really fun movies. Mm-hmm. There's though a lot of great stuff about this movie that's like unique to this one. I like that there is the element of mystery and not having the killer revealed to you, or like you can't really assume who the killer is. But, you know, like in the other Friday the 13th movies, it's not necessarily revealed that it's Jason right away, but some of them, yes, but it's like assumed, knowing the history of the movies. So I like that it's a mystery. I like that she has a motive. It's not just like aimlessly killing. She is trying to like get revenge for this injustice that, and she's like trying to make sure it doesn't happen again, so to speak. The special effects by Tom Savini are great. Obviously, like the iconic theme with the or whatever.
Is it
I always thought it was like
yeah, I feel like that's, I don't
anyways, I love that. Honestly, that's like, I don't know. That might be better than the Halloween one for me. I might like that one better.
Yeah. It's like ASMR, honestly.
There's some very cinematic shots. I remember specifically my two favorite being one of the male campers or camp counselors out on the water in a canoe. Like, just in the water by himself. Do you know which counselor that is?
I think that's Ned. Is it the one that's fucking around in the water?
Yeah, yes. Or maybe there's a female camp counselor in the boat and Ned comes up from the water or something. But anyways, it's like an isolated shot of the water surrounding this one boat in the water, and it's like the ripples of the dark water. It's really beautiful. I love that shot, and I love the one, it's a POV shot of the killer in the woods looking at the house, and it's raining, and you just see these frames that are the windows and like the light on in the house and her moving around like making coffee in the kitchen. And it's completely dark except for rain and like, you know, subtle like Caravaggio lighting.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty movie. I think it's prettier and more cinematic than some of the later movies. There's some good performances. Kevin Bacon is in it. So it's cool.
Yeah.
It's great, but not my favorite Friday the 13th movie.
Well, I think that's about it, y'all. Thank you for, tuning in to our second ever episode of the MPGP Murders Per Gallon of Popcorn podcast.
Yeah, thanks for listening. If you've listened this far into the podcast, I appreciate it when people listen all the way.
Yeah.
That feels nice to do.
Feels good, man.
It would be cool to be able to like interact with people that listen to the podcast more. So I don't know, if you want to leave a comment or something on the YouTube video, you could do that.
Oh,
also,
yeah.
like, let us know if we should like upload this other places. Like, where would you like to see the podcast uploaded? We're pretty new to this, so
Yeah.
just like give us some feedback on what you think of the podcast, where it should be,
Yeah.
You could even suggest movies you'd want us to watch one day, or you could tell us what you think of the movie we're reviewing.
Yeah. We would love to hear from y'all. So, right now our podcast is just on Spotify and YouTube. So, I feel like that's pretty chill. If you have Spotify, please follow us so that you can be tuned in to whenever we drop a new episode. I think the goal is to get it on Apple Music. Or not Apple Music. Apple Podcasts. Help us.
There's interest.
We're really, we're not good at tech stuff. So also, sorry if you hear our roommates in the background. But,
also, that roommate you hear in the background, maybe, that's Jordan Summer. She did the artwork for our previous episode, and I think it turned out pretty sick.
Yeah, and please, if you like her art, she also does cross-stitching, and she does amazing drawings of cakes and
follow her at
cute
Jordan
stuff.
Summer.
Yeah, so basically, thank you. We're gonna wrap up. We love you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye, y'all.
Bye.